Lesson 1. The psychology behind money habits. Everywhere you go on the internet, there are sales, summer sales, winter sales, pop-ups, Cyber Monday, whatever. This is a constructed market scheme to make you buy more. The new currency of this age is not just your money, it's also your time and your attention. Whether it's you scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, watching YouTube videos, or whatever, there's an ad which is tailored to target you specifically. And visual ads are not everything. You're also being pressured subconsciously by influences, by your peers. And this pressures most people into buying something which is not aligned with what they need or want in their life. And that is what this lesson is about, trying to figure out what can we cut out of your budget, what is unnecessary. And that's why we start with the brain. Kahneman explains how we think, fast or slow, with the systems. Simon explains why we don't always think rationally with these mental limitations, and Lowenstein elaborates on these states that we can be in emotionally. Herbert Simon's theory of bounded reality says we don't always pick the best choice, we pick the one that feels good enough. When we're tired or overwhelmed, we take shortcuts. And that's why you grab something on sale without even asking, do I really need this? Simon argues that humans are not fully rational, and that is because we have at all times limited information, limited time, and limited cognitive capacity. Meaning, instead of finding the best solution and maximizing or finding the optimal, most efficient solution, we often settle for the solution which is good enough compared to what we think at that time. Another take on the brain is that from Daniel Kahneman, who explains how this happens as well. He talks about two systems. System 1 is fast, emotional, and intuitive. It's for pattern recognition is for recognizing people on the street. It's for making quick decisions. This is the system that takes action now. Then there's System 2, which is slow, logical, and deliberate. This is the system we use to make conscious decisions, solve complex problems, and be strategical and rational. This is also the system which requires the most amount of effort, meaning that the longer you use System 2, the worse output you get. So at one point, the more drained you get, the easier it is for System 2 to switch over to System 1 and make these quick, intuitive decisions instead. And that's also why, when System 2 is up and running, we have to take advantage of it. Then thirdly, we have George Lowenstein, who shows how emotion, especially in hot states, can override our logic. For example, when we are hungry, angry, craving, stressed or afraid, our decision shifts. The main idea here is that emotional states distorts our reasoning and often leads to irrational choices. And that also happens when we are extremely happy. When we're extremely happy and excited, we will also spontaneously buy this new bike, or we will buy the airplane tickets for our dream vacation or whatever. And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I'm just saying that in the moment when we know that we are affected by some kind of emotion, we should stop up for a second and think, do we really need this? Is this the best option? Can we do it in another way? To build some kind of habit of, I get to the point that I need to get to better or more efficient. And as you get that into a habit of yours, you will start to make better decisions. And with that said, our financial behavior is not just our current mindset, but it's also shaped by our past experiences. Brad Cluns elaborates on this with his theory around money scripts. From our childhood, we have formed beliefs, deep beliefs, which runs in the background of our subconscious mind, without us realizing. For example, if you were told that money does not grow on trees, as an example, as children, we would be more hesitant to spend our money even in our adult life. Whereas if we were told and showed by our parents that money comes and goes, it's supposed to be enjoyed, let's splurge on this vacation, let's buy big presents for Christmas, then now in our life, when we get children or when we have a really good friend or whatever, we are more likely to spend money, as we were taught when we were children. Again, there's no right or wrong in how we were raised, but it's important for us to have in mind how we were programmed and how our subconscious mind works when we spend money. I just came up with 2 examples, but try to review your own life and your own spending habits and try to see why you do as you do. At least give it a try to think about if there's something that you were taught as a kid which you have brought into your adult life. The next theory I want to focus on is from Hersh Shifrin, who talks about behavioral life cycle theory. And this is the whole subject of that we as human beings are wired in a way that we value something right now more than in 2 days or in 1 month or 2 months. This is great at the time where food was scarce and we were hunters and gatherers. This was a survival mechanism for our brain to make sure that our body got calories right away all the time. And this instinct is also what's been used so commonly against ourselves with marketing and sales because they promised this new shiny object right now at a discounted price. This is marketing 101, scarcity, push-pull factors. This is borderline manipulation/nudging. And again, it's nice being targeted by ads if you need this product, but have in mind that the process from getting you on the landing page and you buying has been tailored with precision. And this leads to the third theory from Amos Tversky, namely anchoring bias. And this theory describes that the first price that we see in a product becomes our reference point. And I don't think that it's a coincidence when something is on sale, they will always leave in the original price crossed out and then the new price. In one instant, our perception of value is distorted, and suddenly this new price seems like a great offer, and the timer ticking down, increasing scarcity, we must buy now. This is used along with the other theories a lot in marketing and pricing. So, up until now, we've been talking about the external factors. We have talked about the internal factors. I wanted to conclude this lesson with a theory from Hal Hershfield, as this theory describes that many people fail to save because their future self seems distant. And this is the lack of a why, of why should I save? Why shouldn't I enjoy my time now? Why shouldn't I spend on what I've always dreamt of doing? And that's what we need, a why. And here, the theory describes that you could write a letter to your future self. You could build a vision board, or, as we will do later on, a budget which shows you the immediate effect right now of saving and what it does in the future. But the importance here is that we get some connection to the future in order to push away these short-term gains or short-term excitements in order for you to get ahead of saving money. And as I talked about earlier, it is about a balance between life quality and saving for money to be invested and grow. But in order for you to willingly in the first place put aside money to invest is reliant on your ability to look into the future and see possibilities of building another life. And this is also what Elizabeth Dunn and Michael Norton touches on with their quote, "With this money that I'm about to spend on short-term satisfaction, be better spent on investing in the life I really want."